Welcome back to yet another episode with Life Notes with Paris. I'm glad you're watching. And the question today is, was it easy? I ask. Letting go? It was not easy. And so how did I do it? Having stayed in a relationship for over 14 years, I would say, because I met this person when I was in second years in campus, ran with this relationship until marriage, and eventually stayed for 7 years in marriage. And they asked, how did you let go? And just like in our previous episode, where we looked at letting go of a toxic relationship, for me, I worked on the relationship and I swept every red flag under the carpet. And we kept working on the red flags as though we were working on a marriage. So when I was getting into marriage, it was still clear I had so many things that I was not ready to tolerate. But you know what? I had a mindset that we are going to change. And he was going to change for the better. And we were going to make it regardless. Having come this far, I felt I wasn't ready for another relationship. I wasn't ready for a new relationship. I just wanted to be in this one. And so the best thing I would do for myself is work on it. And there are those friends just before the wedding, I got a message that told me, guess what? That guy usually goes out. He moves out. I was like, when you are having a big wedding coming up, these are the kind of people that want to spoil my wedding. These are the kind of people that are now coming to give me stories. Why didn't they say those stories earlier? They're now saying them because I have already announced a wedding. And it was such a painful moment because immediately after I got married, in that house where I went into, because he was single, and here I am now coming into his house, I found women clothes in that house. And I had a big wedding. A very big wedding. And therefore, when I saw those clothes, I did not tell anybody. I mean, how will I even start it? Who will I tell that after we have all ululated, all the pastors that have come, all the vehicles that came, the whole village, I'm now telling them, I want to leave this marriage because this is what I have found. Yeah. It wasn't easy. I kept quiet. I told myself, well, let me clean up this mess. Maybe that is that person before marriage. So now this is a new person. We are newlyweds. And I can't tell you, even as I tell you this story, it was such a painful moment. Moments I have not forgotten. Moments that I forgive, but never forgotten. And when we went into marriage, here we are. We now have children. And we used to fight over small things. Fight over Facebook. You're on Facebook chatting with your friends, blah, blah, blah. Fight over, this kind of small things. And it went on and on. And it came to a point where by now, the only person I knew I would share with was my mother. I didn't have great friends. And you felt like sharing with your friend, you never know what they think. You never know what they'll do. You never know whether they're for you or they are not for you. And I shared it with my mother. And she would tell me, he will change. Things will work out. Work on your marriage. Focus on your children. And I did that. And so things ran. Years passed on. I got a job in the process. Years passed on. And they were never available. In the few episodes I've done before, I've talked of availability. For me, availability was something I felt was important. That ability of you having time with family, for me, that was very core. But I had not put it as my set boundaries when we were in a relationship. So those are things that just passed on. And here in marriage, I'm feeling the lack of this person being available is hurting. Because I thought, when we get married, we're supposed to be together. If it's weekends, at least, even if you're working from afar. I used to see my dad travel every month. So, I wouldn't understand why you're not able to. And you're so much busy with your work. And it gets to a point whereby even your work doesn't have value anymore to me. Because I don't feel like I'm part of it. So things went on and life moved on like that. Until it got to a point that I was so much in a point of depression. I would say depression, or is it I was going mad? Because for me, infidelity was the worst. Nowadays, ladies are able to handle infidelity, and I still feel I'm not able. For me, it kills the every joy, the every peace that I have. And I would go to his house, pick some clothes, find some women clothes, pick them up, ask, is this yours? Whose is this? And then I would drop them back and say, it's okay. And I one time sat to myself and asked myself, am I getting mad? Am I under depression? Is there something wrong with me? Because, before we would argue, fight, argue. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. And then I went to a moment of silence. And I would just watch. And I would watch helplessly. And thank God, because God sometimes makes us get some revelations. And it was 7 years into my marriage. And I remembered going to church and they said 7 is a near of perfection. And I told God, if truly 7 is a near of perfection, I want you to perfect my marriage. Because I can't stay like this. If this is what you created for marriage, that I'll cry all the time, that I'm in sorrow all the time, I'm in pain all the time, I want you to perfect it. And I packaged a sacrifice. I packaged a sacrifice just the same way David said. He will not build the church of God in a land that costs him nothing. I told myself, I want to give a sacrifice. And I visited the both pastors that joined us. And they didn't know, because at that time I was celebrating 7 years. I have twins. We have a good home. I mean, good house. Because we rarely laughed or even smiled in that house. He would question me, what's the worth of having a house without happiness? Yeah, and I went to those pastors and I told them, I'm blessed. God has blessed me with a job. He has blessed me with children. He has blessed me with a home. I didn't tell them I was hurting. I was in pain. Neither did I tell him. But after that, I knew he was moving out. But somehow, it came out on the light that I found him now with the real person they were moving out with. And at that point, I was so broken. Because imagine even knowing that someone moves out, now seeing the reality was like, really? Did I deserve this? What did I do? Where did I miss it? Why did someone have to do this to me? And I went through moments of questioning. And I got to a point whereby I thought, maybe this person has a problem. Can we seek counseling? And he told me he's not interested. I was like, wow. Okay. So I'm the problem. And so I was at a point whereby I'm not at peace. There was nothing to look back to. Yes, I have a home. There were no sweet memories. There was absolutely nothing other than my children. And that's the moment I sought God again. And at this point, it was over. And before I let go, I was waiting for the last moment. Is there anything that could make me stay? And I remember calling my big brother and telling him, I'm at this point. What should I do? And he told me, buy this book and see how you can salvage your marriage. And I bought this book. I actually ordered it through a colleague. I told them, when you're coming to work on Thursday, please go through the bookshop, pick a book for me and bring it for me. And they brought this book. And when I read this book, it showed me how much of a doormat I was. And we all know doormats are for wiping our shoes. And at that point, I realized there was nothing to salvage in my marriage. It was actually in the coffin. And the best I could do was to bury it. And that's exactly what I did. It was such a painful moment. Did I just leave? Yes. I left the house. I went to a rental place. But did it just happen? When I got to my rental place, I cried every night. I questioned every night. Why? What did I do? Where did I miss it? Where did I lose it? Why did it happen to me? Did I have to lose all those years? Did I have to waste all that time? Do I have to start again? But every time I lay my head in my bed, I felt peace. And at that point, I wanted peace more than money. And the only thing that money doesn't buy is peace. Money cannot buy peace. I felt peace. It wasn't easy. I felt naked. Having worked for 7 years and nothing to show in one day. And I felt like I'm worthless. I've been working all this while. I have nothing. But you know what? When you choose peace over chaos, slowly by slowly, you begin to rebuild. And I started rebuilding. Slowly by slowly. I took another loan, bought another land, started life again. Yes. But you know what I'm proud of? I'm proud of one thing. That my children have a happy mother. My children can boast of their mother. They know what I'm capable of. They know what I'm not capable of. They now can understand what is love. They now can understand there's a God in heaven that can still provide for us. They now know the value of love. They know the value of family. They know the value of a happy mother. Because when you're depressed, you can never give your best. I can tell you how many times I beat my children simply because their father was unavailable. Because I felt, you're disturbing me and your father is nowhere to be found. But when I found peace and took all responsibility, I discovered we can live a happy life. And I can teach them. I don't have to teach them. They can see it for themselves. What a happy mother looks like. So in our next episode, I will be looking at the challenges of co-parenting. Today I hear guys saying, I can co-parent. We will divorce. You know, you make it look so casual. But do you really know the reality? Let's catch up in the next episode. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, keep believing in yourself. Thank you.